Since man first learned to cast his gentle light into the night, candles have chased back the darkness from our homes. Hand in hand along the way, man and fairy alike have shared this love for their warm glow. In one legend, the Jade Emperor in heaven was so angered at a town for killing his favorite goose that he decided to destroy it with a storm of fire. However, a good-hearted fairy heard of this and warned the people to light lanterns throughout the town on the appointed day. The townsfolk did as they were told, and from the heavens it looked as if the village was ablaze. Satisfied that his goose had already been avenged, the Jade Emperor decided not to destroy the town. From that day on, people have actually celebrated the anniversary of their deliverance by carrying lanterns and candles throughout the streets on the first full moon of the year, providing a spectacular backdrop for the lion and dragon dances and fireworks. Megovana Melanin. In today's edition of the Gentle Musings of an Elven Scholar, we're actually going to delve a little bit into the Elven love of crafting. As I had mentioned before, this is a part of the Elven series on love, our love for many things, and today is going to be about the love of crafting. And today we are going to learn how to make an Elven candle. All right, this is not just any normal candle, but this is a candle that expresses a much richer form of beauty and art and expression, and it's something that everyone out there, should they choose to do so, can create on their own. And we're going to go through the entire steps of how to do this and how you can learn to make your own. And we're going to talk about at the end, if you want to increase your resources to further your Elven way, I'm going to help you a little bit on how to learn how to make some money while doing this. You might be surprised how much you can make with it. Well, the whole point to this series of videos that I'm doing is to basically help the Elven folk out there, myself included, to reawaken. And we do that in large part through education. So I'm going to read a little bit and show on the screen a wonderful saying by the Silver Elves. The elves say, embrace every opportunity to learn. Education provides knowledge. Knowledge leads to understanding. Understanding reveals the truth. Truth is power, and power gives us the energy to manifest our dreams. Truth gives us the power to manifest our dreams. All right, and so by learning, we gain understanding, and by gaining understanding, it gives us the power to create what we want. So today we're going to take that little bit of knowledge and understanding to create something beautiful and something that maybe can help support us in the future. In the next episode, I'm going to go a lot deeper into truth and power, and I'm going to be talking about the many levels of manifestation through Elven magic and enchantment. So next week we'll be talking about levels of Elven manifestation and what we can do to help create and bring into our lives a more Elven world for ourselves and for others. All right, so today we're going to talk about candles, how to make candles. Now, it's very easy to make candles. The average candle that most people see, candles such as, again, as I showed before, little votives, they're great. They're wonderful. It's a neat sense of independence. It's a beautiful light. When they're made from beeswax, there's a wonderful, gentle scent that comes out. Please make sure that the beeswax you get, try your best to make sure that it comes from compassionate beekeepers and those that know how to take care of the bees organically and gently. All right, well, we're going to be talking about something a bit more complicated. We're going to be talking about how to make candles like these. All right, how to make three-dimensional candles from any object. You can take any object in your house that's currently not a candle, and I'm going to show you how you can make it into an exact replica of that, and then maybe sell them, otherwise just keep the beauty around your house for yourself. Okay, so we're going to go through this step by step, how we can do this, and then I'm going to take a quick little break and show you a 1-minute video, a 1.5-minute video from the company that supplies the material that we use to do this, to show you how it's actually done. All right, there are many kinds of wax out there, and I like to be careful with the kind I use because we want to be eco-friendly. All right, for example, candles originally were made from reeds, plants, that were soaked in tallow, which was animal fat. Both the Egyptians and the Romans relied upon the fat from cattle and sheep as the primary ingredient, but those candles gave off a really thick smoke and infused with an awful smell. All right. Also, if you did this long enough in an enclosed area like their little huts, it could actually, and it did actually, lead to blindness. All right. All right, well, we certainly don't want to use those anymore. But those candles, as I said, they gave off that. Fortunately, by the Middle Ages, this problem was solved with the introduction of beeswax. Okay, they burned clean with very little smoke, and they left behind the sweet scent of honey. Okay, eventually, but they were expensive. And to this day, they can still be unnecessarily expensive. But eventually, women during the colonial days of America discovered that a pleasant, sweet-smelling candle was produced if they took the green berries from the bayberry bush and boiled them down, and actually wax came from it. And so you can actually go on Amazon right now and get bayberry bush wax, and you can actually make your own candles from wax that comes from berries. So extremely vegan, extremely eco-friendly, very compassionate. You can do that. All right, but people weren't satisfied with that, and they wanted to find a really, really, really inexpensive solution. So paraffin, which is the common wax today, was created. Okay, paraffin is what we're all familiar with today, was actually invented in the 1850s when someone figured out how to produce it from the remains of the crude oil industry. So paraffin actually comes from the leftovers or the byproducts of oil, you know, oil that is used for cars and engines and things like that. It became a very inexpensive solution to the high-priced beeswax in use for so long. But this too had its problems because it puts a lot of toxins and smoke into the air, so there's a lot of problems with it. All right, because of the problem, consumers began calling for something of a more natural candle. So we have the beeswax, but it can have its own issues. We have the bayberry berries that work, but now they've come out with something else, and this actually is a wonderful wax. I've used it extensively, and that was solved back in the 1990s when the invention of soy wax. All right, Michael Richards, looking for a cheaper alternative to beeswax, began trying various different plant waxes similar to the colonial women, and found that hydrogenated soybean oil offered the best solution. By 1995, soy wax candles began to enter our homes and businesses and have continued to grow in popularity ever since. They're very inexpensive compared to some others. It's very safe. It burns extremely clean. So I like using soy wax when I can. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to show you real quickly how to make a standard candle, and then we're going to go to the more complex. All right. In order to make the basic candle, what you want to do is you need several supplies. You need the soy wax, you need a cotton wick. Don't ever get the lead wicks, the one that have the lead in the middle, because as you burn the wax, the lead comes out into the air and you actually breathe in lead. At the clinic where I'm a doctor at, I actually do heavy metal testing on our patients. It's very sad in today's America how many people have lead in their systems. And I know that there's not so much lead paint like there used to be, but how many people burn these candles? And of course there's lots of other ways to get lead in your system. Okay, so people like the lead ones because it makes the candle stick straight up in the wick when you're trying to make the candle. But there's a lot easier ways to do this, and you can do it with pure cotton. All right, so you need the soy wax, you need a lead-free cotton wick, you need a little wick tab or clip to be able to hold it in place. Color or scent if you want to get it. These are all very easily bought. You can buy most of the, well, pretty much all these supplies you could buy from, there's a store, for a hobby store called Michael's. A lot of you probably have it. Hobby Lobby. Or for those that like to, like me, I like to get a lot of stuff off Amazon. Amazon has an incredible number of molds and wicks and things of that nature. The wax is there, everything's there. If you decide that you want to start doing this as a living, okay, which you can, very easily you can get into this as a living. Try to get most of your stuff bulk. You can get it through Amazon or go straight to the companies and buy them in bulk. You'll save an amazing amount of money when you start making these candles more consistently. All right, and then make sure you have a little jar and some wax paper to protect your table where you're working at. And like I said, here's an image of some of the supplies that we use, all right, to do this. Okay, All right, so that's that one. Let's go ahead and let's go to the next step. Okay. After you get all that, you basically heat the wax in the microwave oven for about 4 minutes, and it's very simple. You've already got you get the wax ready, and then you heat the take the little cotton wick and you dip it into the wax, and then hold it straight and just let it harden, and then it's just like it'd be a lead wick, only now it's completely straight and hard. Okay. You can see here in the picture how I'm taking the wick, dipping it in there, and then I hold it until it hardens. All right, very simple to do. Okay, in the next picture you can see here what we do is I like to use like little chopsticks or 2 little sticks, and I rubber band them together, and I take the wick and I put it up to the middle so that it's kind of clamped, and then then you get a little wick holder. You can get them from any hobby store, and you basically, so it's going to sit on the bottom like you see in a lot of candles, where there's a little metal tab. That's the little wick holder, and you can basically attach the wick into there. I very often like to hot glue the metal tab to the bottom of the glass so that it doesn't move when I'm pouring the wax in. And then I get it standing straight up, and it's ready for me to start pouring wax. Alright, so you can see everything's all set up. We pour a little bit of wax just to get it started. Then we fill it up. And you fill it up to almost to the top, as you can see from this picture here, and so that it is still got about, I'll say about an inch or so of wick free of the wax. Set it aside, don't do anything with it, let it cool, and you have here, as you can see here, a very simple candle in a glass jar. And you can close it, you can give it to friends or family, you can sell it. It's very simple, and you'd be surprised how much money you can make from these things. Years ago, as a hobby, I think like I mentioned before in another video, as a hobby, my wife and I decided to go ahead and do a little side job of making candles. So we started making them, and we approached another store out there. We'd never sold them before, and we started making some candles at home, and we approached a store out there, and we noticed that it was a bit of a gift shop where they had all sorts of different shapes of different things that they sold. And we walked in and said, we would love to make candles for you, and we'll actually we can take some of these little gifts you have and use them as masters, and we'll make candles from those so that you can have candles of what you actually have there. And they loved the idea. I mean, it didn't cost them anything. And we said, we'll bring the candles back to you, and if you like them, buy them. Well, they did. And all of a sudden we started selling candles then, and before we knew it, this side business grew so large that we had to make a decision. Either we go into a full business of making candles, or we go ahead and just try to keep it down low, because medicine is what I do, natural medicine. Because at one point we had multiple stores buying from us, and one of them alone was buying $1,000 worth of candles every single month. And it was just from walking out and saying, hey, here's this, we brought some samples of our candles, walked in and said, here's some of the things we do. And it was very rare for anybody to tell us no, because it was completely risk-free to them for us to try this. All right, so here's an example of some of the candles that we do. These are all candles that we got from, these were masters, meaning the original sculpture that we would buy from regular stores. For example, over to on the left of that picture there, you see Julius Caesar. Well, that's a candle, but it was originally a sculpture that we bought from one of the casinos, because we lived in Las Vegas for about 11 months, and we bought, that was from Caesar's, and we bought one of their sculptures, made a mold out of it, and turned it into a candle. Down there you can see the Pharaoh, okay, and then the Statue of Liberty. Those were all bought from gift shops as masters. We then turned them into candle molds, made the candles, and then went back to the casinos or stores and said, hey, would you like to have these in your store? And it was extremely easy to do, very successful. Here's a candle that we got from Excalibur, the casino there. There was a mold, it was a castle. We decided to go ahead and make molds of it. Nice thing is, because we own the mold, we didn't sell it just to them. We sold it to lots of different stores, and they loved it. Okay, It was a Chinese dragon that we did. This was a wooden sculpture, and we took it and molded it using the process I'm going to be showing you in just a few minutes. And once the mold is made, it can make hundreds of the candles before it wears out. And so that's an example of what you can do. Here's a little thing we had fun playing with. We basically took some molds and things and made something that looked like ice cream, but it was a candle. You'd be surprised how much they love buying these things. Here was a place called Red Rock. This was a little nature area outside of Las Vegas, and they have these rocks that they sell that are petroglyphs, that have where people hundreds or thousands of years ago carved into them, and now they have these replicas of these rocks for sale for the tourists. We went and bought one, made a candle replica of it, took it back and said, here, now you can sell the candle version. They bought lots of them, and they're so simple to make. It was a beautiful candle that we made from a wooden sculpture with the leaves, very elvish, and we have these molds to this day. Of course, in fairy, we have the mermaid candles. This was a ceramic sculpture that we took and made a mold of, and now we have a mermaid candle. All right, here was the Stratosphere. That is the big tower that's in Las Vegas. We walked up to them, said, would you be interested? We bought one of their actual souvenirs of the Stratosphere, made a candle out of it, sold hundreds of them to them. And a little trick that we did was at the bottom of the candle, we put in one of their little chips from the casino, so when you burn the candle, you actually get a chip at the bottom of it. Here's something called an ice candle. Took a regular mold, filled it with ice, poured the wax in, and ended up making something simple and beautiful like this, and they sold like crazy. Here's a wooden sculpture that we turned into a candle, like I showed you earlier, of the man in the forest. Here's an example of the Stratosphere again, as a full candle. A little dragon that we've done. It was a little ceramic sculpture from a little gift shop. Bought it, started selling them the candles. So there's lots and lots of candles and things that you can make. Now we're going to show you how to make them. So it's not a hard process to do, but it does take a little bit. But once you get it done one time, you'll end up making them over and over and over again. So, okay, so as I showed you before how to make a simple candle. You've had a taste of candle crafting, and your creative spirit urges you on to greater heights. Where can you go from here? The sky's the limit. For me, the greater joy resides in molded or 3D candles. I really love doing those because they just don't exist very much, and not when you can custom make them for people. They absolutely love that. All right. Okay, many of these candles can be bought online or even at your local craft store. Molds of pillars, tapers, and votives, they're the standard ones. They're very easy to make. You can buy them off Amazon. It's the unique molds for mythical or pagan candles that can be difficult to find. Okay, and you can answer that problem, okay, by making them out of your own molds. Okay, so for this we need to delve into the Hollywood world of sculpting and mold casting. Don't worry about trying to be like Steven Spielberg or Peter Jackson. You too can make candles that are highly detailed, okay, of your favorite statues with just a little bit of information and practice. Okay, for this project you're going to need a few supplies, and this is what we're going to go over right now on what to do. All right. Keep in mind that what I'm going to be showing you can make candles so detailed that it will even pick up your fingerprint. You can actually make a mold of your fingerprint. This molding material is so accurate. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and learn how to make a candle. And the candle that we did here was actually a candle that we did for Fairy Magazine. For any of you familiar with Fairy Magazine, we were published in them, let's see, this was the issue that we were published in. All right, this is Fairy Magazine. We were published. This was an issue, that was spring of 2006. They published an article about us, and we made a candle example for them. And this is what we did. This was the master, where we took that fairy, and we produced a little thing for showing Fairy Magazine. And so we made a mold of exactly this one right here. All right, so what do you need to do that? All right, one of the most important things that you're going to have to get, and it's easy to get, there are distributors all over the United States, and they will ship to you, is from a company called Smooth On. Okay, and you're going to be getting the Smooth On VitaFlex 20. It's a urethane rubber compound. It's actually pretty safe. The price now is up to around $27 for a sample kit, and from that sample kit you can make probably several, if they're small, quite a number of molds, or you can make one big mold, okay, out of the sample kit. Okay, you're also going to want to make sure you get the Super Seal Universal Release Combo to help spray so that it will release the mold out in the master. So you're going to spray this, and you're going to cover it with the rubber urethane, and when it's sealed, you're going to cut it away and it will peel right off without damaging the master, because you don't want to ruin the masters if you can help it. Alright, you're going to want to have a sculpture like we have here, preferably small, no more than 3 or 4 inches tall for your first time. This is going to take a little practice to get used to this. Alright, you're going to want a watertight box. We often use like wax sealed cardboard so we can just kind of make it ourselves. Okay, and you're going to want it bigger than the mold, and we'll show you how that looks in a minute. You're going to want a clock or a stopwatch, because some of this is a little bit timing important, but it's, again, don't let any of this scare you. This is easy stuff, and you'll see in a minute. A box cutter so you can cut the mold away, and paraffin or beeswax or soy wax, whatever is your choice. I prefer from the beeswax to the soy, or my preference is soy wax. Is obviously the better to do. All right, so picking your master, we've got next, so you're going to do that. Everything I'm talking about here is actually from that article that was published in Fairy Magazine. And if you're interested in seeing the full article with everything together in one location, the pictures, the article, because it goes step by step by step, it's going to be in the next issue of the Gentle Musings of an Elven Scholar newsletter, which is coming. The second issue is coming out in a couple of weeks. It's free. It's an e-newsletter. Please feel free, if you haven't already subscribed. The subscription information is down in the description of this video, and go ahead and subscribe. And this entire article with the pictures is going to be included in that newsletter, along with a lot of other great articles on Elven healing, Elven meditation, Elven culture, Elven history, Elven language. It's all in that newsletter each month. So next month, in a couple of weeks, this article that we're talking about today will be in there in its entirety, and you can look at it for free. Okay. When you do this, you're going to have to calculate the amount of wax that it's going to take, or the amount of mold that it's going to take. All right. Since the urethane rubber compound is expensive, we like to pre-measure the required amount. This is very easy to do. First, we temporarily line our box with a plastic bag. Okay, and here's, you can see what we're doing here. We basically just took cardboard, taped it all together, glued it together, and then put a plastic bag in it so that we can get some idea. All right. Okay, this will keep it from being, the box from being ruined by the water. Now, take your master, if it can be safely exposed to water for just a short time, and stick it in there and pour the water in. And then take that water and measure it. That's going to be the amount of material you're going to use for the urethane. Easy, that way you don't waste any. Okay, then you want to prepare the master. That's when we take it and we spray it with the sealer so that the molding material doesn't glue to it and doesn't damage it. All right, okay, so once you've got it all prepared, we start actually making the molding material. So I'm going to take a little break here, and then we're going to show you a video by Smooth On. It's about 1.5 minutes, and it shows you exactly how to make the molding material rather than me sitting here and trying to tell you how to do it or showing pictures. So I'm going to take a little break, show you how to make the molding material, and then we're going to be back and show you all about pouring. Be right back. Okay, pretty simple, right? It's really not hard to do. I was actually very successful on my very first try when we decided to experiment with making three-dimensional candles. Okay, so it's not that hard to do. So like I said, let's get back to pouring. As I said, you got to prepare the master first, spray a couple of good coats of the release on it, let them dry, and then spray the release inside the box itself so that it will help everything just separate from it. Okay, once we've done that, it's time to start pouring. As you saw how to mix. You take the part A and part B, mix it together. As you can see here, we're stirring it together in a larger bucket. All right, and then it's time to pour. Okay, after we've got everything all together, all the parts mixed together, we go ahead and we pour it into the bucket itself. Okay, or into the box. Now, it can take, as you saw from the video, it can take a good 15 hours or more to set. Let it set for a while, and then it'll be time to go ahead and cut the box out away from the mold. And once you've cut the box away after about 15 hours, so you usually got to leave it overnight, this is what you end up with. You have this big old mold that's taken out of the box, and now we got to release the master itself. So we use the cutting knives and we basically slice on both sides and very carefully, very slowly separate the master from it. Okay, at that point we are now ready to go ahead and make our very first candle from this. Okay, and again, this picture is showing you what we do. After we've pulled the mold apart and we've taken the master out, we basically spray the sealer or to release back in it, close it back up, and as you can see from here, there's a series. We just put a lot of rubber bands to hold it together tight because there's two halves. We basically put it together. You see on top where the little stick with the wick's been attached to it, the wick goes all the way to the bottom. And like normal, we now, just like we did for the little candles, we now fill this with wax, and in just a few minutes, or it can be an hour or more depending on what the environment's like, or the kind of wax you use, in just a short while, after you know that it's solidified, it's nice and cool, gently, because it has a release on it, so it will help, is gently release the two sides of the mold. And here is an example. On the left is the master, and on the right is the actual candle itself. So, and you can make it any color, any scent. You can get more creative and make it multicolored. There's so many things you can do with it. And here was the final. Sorry that the picture was so grainy. This was taken quite a few years ago, but that was very magazine for them. They loved it, and we gave them a copy of it. Okay, so that's how simple it is to make elven candles. All right, as I said before, I'm not saying that, you know, money is everything and that we should do this for money. But money is a resource, and it does help, and it allows us to go out and further, it enables us to go out and further express ourselves within our elven culture and pass the word on. So it's very helpful, like I said, in a very short period of time, without even meaning to. Our little side candle company grew to where we had to make a decision and actually make a factory or shrink it back down again. And because I was already a doctor and that type of thing, we couldn't proceed any further, but we had people already putting in orders, asking us to make more and more, and it was very difficult for us to make the decision and say we have to move on. And after that, we moved from Vegas anyway, and we came to California, where we set up our clinic that we're in now. So it's a wonderful way to manifest your dreams. It's a wonderful way to inspire others with beauty, because one of the most important things about elves is the love of beauty and magic and enchantment. And you can do that when you express it in our arts and crafts. And this is a simple way to do it. All right, so I hope that helps everyone. This is an easy little video about how to make your own candles and make three-dimensional ones. If you have questions or comments, please don't hesitate to show them in the comment section below. I try to answer every comment that comes through, and I will do my best to answer your questions. So today's video was based on an article, again, that I did back in 2006. That article will be coming out in the Gentle Musings of an Elven Scholar, called also Elven Awakenings. It will be out, the second issue will be out in a couple weeks. Please feel free, if you haven't already signed up, to subscribe to it. You can go to my page, The Gentle Musing of an Elven Scholar, And off on the left-hand side is a tab that says newsletter sign up. It's free. You can unsubscribe if you decide you don't like it. So this week's article will be in there in its entirety with a lot better description of how to do it. All right, I also will be including a link in the description below to Smooth On, the company that sells this molding material. All right, and right now, like I said, the sample kit's about $27, and you can make several small molds or one good size mold from that kit. And remember, it may be $27 for the mold if you make a big one, but that mold will last hundreds of times. And it's just great experience, and it's to practice at it. All right, so next week we're going to be talking about the many levels of Elven manifestation. So we're back to being a little bit more spiritual next time. Going to be talking about how you, as an Elven child, can learn to manifest into your life the Elven way, the Elven culture. All right, and how you can bring those things into your life through magic, through enchantment. All right, and how we can bring Elven into reality today. So it'll be the many levels of Elven manifestation. I'm going to be talking about my past, my history, and how I applied these laws of manifestation and what happened when I did it. Okay, and one fair warning also we'll be talking about in the video is beware of wishes, because wishes can come true, and sometimes it's the way those wishes are granted that can make it a little bit difficult for you. So you can manifest everything, anything that you want. Just be careful how you do it. And we'll be talking about that in next week's edition, the multiple levels of Elven manifestation. All right, also this week, sometime late this week, our new book on holistic healing will be out on Amazon. It'll be the 4th book in our series of holistic healing, and holistic first aid, how you can make your own first aid kit, a natural holistic first aid kit. It goes through the entire process of how to make your own medications, how to use them in situations like severe bleeding, having snake bites, or even black widow bites, broken bones, poisoning. So it's called Holistic First Aid. It'll be out later this week, both paperback and ebook, because it's, again, another expression of Elven healing and how we can do it naturally. Everything that I talk about in this week's book coming out are protocols and medications that we have done in our clinic to this day, and we're going to show you where you can buy them, or if you want to, we're going to show you how you can make your own medications. Okay, tonight, for anybody that is going to be watching, I also have the privilege of interviewing Kim Burrell from High Elven Wisdom and Love. Will be on tonight, streaming at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So we're going to be talking to Kim Burrell and finding out how she got into the Elven way and what her hopes are for the future. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Okay, so we're going to sign off, but also, as I do every single episode, I love to give a little phrase by the Silver Elves. So today, this one is about becoming in tune with ourselves. The more we remember who we are, the more in tune we become with nature, the more we reawaken. And remember, the reawakening is for us, but it's also to allow us to help heal the world, because right now it needs it more than it ever has in its history, with the fires in Brazil and Australia. Here in Northern California and throughout the United States, the world is ready for the elves to wake up. It's time for us to remember who we are, and then we can go help others do the same thing. All right. When you become attuned to nature, the truth becomes obvious. When you are out of touch with the natural world, your entire worldview becomes an illusion and a lie. And by the Silver Elves, this is ancient Elven knowledge. All right? So it was a pleasure talking to all of you today. This is just a simple little practical, pragmatic video. I look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about the many levels of Elven manifestation and how you can bring that into your life. All of you have a most blessed day today. Namaste.